So, I mean, think about it this way. And a lot of people in the finance world pretty much know this. The economic collapse is basically an inevitability at this point, like a mathematical inevitability. The question is just like when it's going to collapse. And so obviously the people in power know that, and they want to manage that collapse to, herd people into CBDCs. At least we can see that whole picture now. Maybe a couple of years ago that wasn't so obvious, but now it's pretty obvious. So they want to manage the collapse in such a way where they can do that, right? So part of this is how are they going to bring it all down, but absolve themselves of blame? They don't want to repeat 2008 where there was Occupy Wall Street and civil unrest against the banks. They want to have another boogeyman.
According to investigative journalist Whitney Webb, the inevitability of an economic collapse is not a matter of if, but when. It's a mathematical certainty at this stage. Webb highlights the alarming reality of the spiraling debt burden in the United States, which has spiraled out of control due to excessive money printing by the government and central banks. This relentless printing of money has led to a situation where they cannot keep up with the interest repayments on the debt, necessitating further money printing. This vicious cycle of debt is bound to implode in the future. Webb asserts that major banks are aware of this impending crisis and have begun preparations for the eventual collapse. They seek to deflect blame onto potential scapegoats such as international hackers or a cyber catastrophic event, possibly orchestrated around 2024. Stay tuned until the end of the video, where Webb explores whether Bitcoin could offer a potential solution to this looming crisis. Before we continue with the rest of the video, do check out daily 5-minute crypto newsletter with all the latest crypto and Bitcoin news. It's a fantastic analysis of on-chain crypto data and breakdowns, and the best part is it's absolutely free. They'll cover expert predictions, breakdowns of on-chain crypto data, and any breaking news you need to know, all in a nutshell. Click the first link in the description and enter your email to join over 50,000 others in becoming a better crypto investor right now.
Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to drop your comment and observations in the comment section below. Thanks and enjoy the video.
They have a game plan for this. We don't know it because it's part of this, they're like information, I forget the acronym, but all these different sectors in the US, they're called ISACs, that's it. Okay, so it's like an information sharing and analysis center by all the big players in a particular industry. So the financial industry, Wall Street has an ISAC. I forget exactly what it's called, but I talk about it. And they work with the WEF, and they have a plan that they've done at the ISAC, which is like a meeting of the biggest banks and financial products companies and asset company, whatever, in the world, or in the US, sorry. So they all have a private communication platform where they all get together and talk about stuff. And so they have a contingency plan about what to do in the event of a cyber attack that takes down the financial system. Okay, so they know what they're going to do. We just don't know. So it's a mess. But anyway, the end game of the WEF partnership against cybercrime, it's not just this financial transition. It's more broadly focused on the end of online anonymity and privacy entirely. So you have the cyber attack, right? Probably going to usher in a CBDC thing, something like that. And this partnership against cybercrime is intimately involved in all of these preparations. But another thing that these people want is to have what was dreamt up under the Obama administration. It never was put into practice, but it was called a driver's license for the internet, is what they referred to it. And similar ideas have been piloted by the UK and the EU. The idea that you have to, in order to access they started with to access social media. That's what they're doing in the EU and the UK. To access social media, you have to link your government ID or a government issued ID to your account. And they say this is going to stop hate speech or stop illegal financial activity online and all of this stuff.
So they're going to suppress free speech. But
this
they
is
don't
what
want
they
voter cards.
Say. Yeah, but if you look at, policy papers talking about the WEF again, but, other organizations have partnered with them on this. The digital ID agenda, which vaccine passports were sort of a Trojan horse for. They want to tie your CBDCs to that. They want to tie your medical history to that, your ability to travel, all of this stuff. But, they say in that document, digital IDs are about deciding what you do and do not have access to, but also, so like, we saw this with vaccine passports, where you can travel, where you can't travel, where you can go, you can't go, right? What services you can receive, which ones you can't, but it's also what information you can and can't access. I mean, they say it really openly there. So the idea is to have it, they even have a graphic of it, in this 2018 policy paper that, tie it to your social media accounts, the ID, and also tie it to your internet access and your phone access, period. So the idea is to usher in the system, and if you can't live without your phone or you can't live without the internet, you're gonna get it. You're gonna join the slave system because they're gonna make it the only way you can get online. But I mean, at that point, the internet, just so people know, if you're thinking, well, yeah, maybe I should then because I can't live without online, whatever. Yeah, okay. The internet won't be fun once they do that. Like, everything that's fun about the internet will go away. Just want to be really clear about that. But they claim this is the only way to move forward. Again, the partnership against cybercrime, which the FBI and DOJ are part of, I will have you know, basically say it's the only way to stop cybercrime is to make everyone to be completely trackable, everything they do, and it's surveilled in real time online, and, end privacy and anonymity and surveil everyone. And the US government they've launched it already. It was going to be launched under Trump. It was like Ivanka and Kushner's project, that they were pitching to Trump, called HARPA, which is the health DARPA. But now Biden has launched it under a slightly different name, ARPA H. He moved the H to the end, but it's still health ARPA. And that program, as originally designed, was to go through all your social media and online data to determine early warning signs of neuropsychiatric violence, that one day you could become violent, which, is pre-crime, basically. And so if it's tied to your ID and it comes up, beep, 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 this person could be violent, it's your ID, they know where you live, they can turn off your money with CBDCs, they can do it all. That's what we're moving into. It's totally mental. So yeah. Okay, so they've been talking about cyber attack on the energy grids and all this stuff in the media for a while, and cybersecurity companies, many of which are tied to intelligence, have been talking about that for a while too. But if you want to look at people like the World Economic Forum and their partners, they talk about cyber attacks too, but it's almost entirely focused on the financial system. And some of the biggest banks in the world are part of that. And it's basically, they have a plan. We don't know what it is, but they have a plan for what happens if there is a cyber attack on the financial system, and how all the big banks are going to respond with the government, because this is basically the biggest banks in the world, and it's the UK government, Israel's government, and the US government, including the FBI and Department of Justice, all part of this thing. It's called Partnership Against Cybercrime at the World Economic Forum, and I've written about it pretty extensively. If you go to my website and you look up like WEF, Partnership Against Cybercrime, you'll find my two-part series on all this stuff, because a lot of people have probably heard about Cyber Polygon, which is like the WEF's big simulation for a cyber attack, but that's like an annual exercise. So they've done several of those, but then again, it's mainly again with banks. So it's co-hosted by a subsidiary of Sberbank, which is one of Russia's biggest bank, partially state-owned, which is kind of ironic when you consider Russian hackers, and all the concern about that, and the US government's participating in Cyber Polygon, for example. Like, why aren't they concerned about Russian hackers then? I mean, it's a joke. So anyway, it's mostly banks.
Whitney Webb's analysis underscores that the notion of an economic collapse is not merely theoretical but an impending reality fueled by a relentless debt spiral and unchecked monetary policies. Her insights vividly depict a system on the verge of collapse due to unsustainable financial practices and the looming threat of an orchestrated crisis. Webb's perspective serves as a sobering reminder of the fragility of our current economic framework and the proactive measures major banks are taking in anticipation of the inevitable. Amidst these revelations, Webb urges vigilance and encourages questioning the narratives presented during tumultuous times. In light of potential scapegoats and fabricated crises, her perspective prompts a critical examination of the information fed to us. Within this context, the question of Bitcoin's role as a potential safe harbor in times of economic uncertainty emerges prominently. Webb's evaluation of this digital asset offers both hope and a fresh perspective for consideration in navigating personal finance and wealth preservation strategies. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these two awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.